Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood Pants is back with another Siege video. Today we're up against Syndicate and Dystopia. Dystopia was spamming a bunch of Carcano Iris Trianas, so you'll see me hit quite a few of those, hence the thumbnail. As always, I'll discuss the teams I use, their strengths and weaknesses, and what I might use against some of the defenses I lost to next time I encounter them, or how I might have played the match a little differently. Anyways, let's get into the video. First up, I use my cheat code against Edward's Carcano Iris Triana. I'm using Miranea and Lucian. Unfortunately, his Carcano does survive, which is always a bit scary, especially when both my Miran and Tian were a 5-star. My Tian wasn't even max skilled here, so I'm just asking for trouble with scenarios like these. Luckily, I'm able to win this 2v1, and at this point, my Tian is 6-starred and max skilled, so in upcoming videos, you'll see I have less trouble when this happens. Immediately after this match, I hit Jonathan CR's CIT, this time with Joltan, Sabrina, and Talia, which has worked well historically for me. I think if I did a ton of trials with this team against a variety of differently runed CITs, that it would likely have an 85-ish% win rate. In this case, his iris is obviously pretty squishy, so maybe he's running slot 6 accuracy or something just to make his iris fast, but I think he'd have a much better shot, at least against this counter with a tanky iris. I'm playing for second turn here anyways, so I don't care much about speed as long as I'm not getting lapped. So if his iris didn't get killed so quickly, I think he would have had a better shot in the 2v2 matchup that happens. Especially since he landed a stun on my Talia. If my Sabrina wasn't able to finish Iris off, he could have easily recovered, stun locked me, and had Triana do her thing. Thankfully, I got a comfortable win though. Next, I'm hitting Peluchitin's Carcano, Fuuki, and Molly, and I'm using Fran, Kaki, and Cyan, which works pretty well, but my guild did find recently that Skogul works much better here in place of Kaki, so I've been using Fran, Skogul, Cyan lately against this team. That said, nothing seems 100% safe against this overpowered nonsense of a team. If you happen to own these monsters, I highly recommend giving them your best runes and just reaping the rewards of your free wins. I think Molly should move first to potentially strip someone with their skill 1. All 3 should certainly be on Violent. The turn order between Carcano and Fuuki doesn't matter too much from what I can tell, but I would think you would want Carcano to move before Fuuki, which isn't too difficult with their base speeds. Destroy is also great in this team for people that aren't trying to bomb it and attempting to, out-sustain with their own Molly or maybe a Harmonia or something along those lines. Lulu too would probably be okay in tier. 100 resistance on Fuuki is certainly doable since he awakens into it, so it should help quite a bit against bombers if you can make that happen. On Molly, of course, too, 100 res just makes her a pain. Anyways, I hate this defense, but I do get the win here. All right, next up, I hit a Carcano Molly Savannah, and I'm bringing Fang, Amelia, and Dozer, which is obviously a bit risky because of the glancing passive, so my Dozer may glance, my Fang may never land as defense breaks, things like that, but it's been working for me. This is one of those offenses that doesn't involve much thinking, which is why I like to use it. In this match, I don't even use Dozer skill 3 until only Molly is remaining, which is pretty rare. I probably could have used this skill 3 to dismount Savannah early on, but I opted to save it because I generally want to use it on Carcano to get him out of the way ASAP, but I also didn't want to waste it at the time while he was in his pose because the chances I miss both crits is pretty high at that time. But my Fang landed his defense breaks and I was resisting stuff, so that just made for an easy win, thankfully. All right, next I hit Cersei's Carcano, Iris, Savannah, and I'm bringing Jean, Tessarion, and Leo. I think this should have about the same win rate as it does against Carcano, Claire, Savannah, maybe even higher because Iris is relying on Despair runes for her stuns, whereas Clara's stuns are built right into her kit. Also, similarly to last Siege's Carcano Gianna Savannah, he's missing out on the additional defense break, but he also doesn't even have the bomb that Gianna provides, so he's lacking damage compared to Carcano Clara Savannah and Carcano Gianna Savannah. So the main benefit of Iris that I can see with Carcano and Savannah is the sustain that she provides. Anyways, I'm sure I could have gotten wrecked here. I think this defense, just like Carcano Claire Savannah, needs to have its unfair RNG happen right at the start of the match. Otherwise, once Jean starts provoking people, they're in a bunch of trouble. So GG to Cersei. Next, I hit another Carcano Iris Triana. This time I'm using Susanoo, Stella, and Megan, which again is a bit of a rune quality check and has Triana solo potential, but it can certainly work very well. I kill both his Carcano and Iris easily here, so again, I think it's more beneficial to run a tanky Iris if you can make it happen with your runes. If you're running this kind of defense, heavy damage water reduction is probably really good on your monsters. I think most counters that I see tend to be water heavy. Like I used Water Twins earlier. You'll see me use Vigor, Lucia combinations later on. I know people use like Suki and Vigor and Lulu and all that kind of thing. So maybe try heavy water damage reduction. Of course, that makes you more likely to get Lucian, but it is what it is. You can't counter everything whenever you're building your defense. You can just try and make it the best you can. Next, I hit Gara CIT, this time with Vigor, Alucia, and Sen. I saw a guildie use it, so thought I'd try it out as well. Gara's Triana hit like a truck, and both his Triana and Carcano landed their crits often, but my Alucia was able to hold on and get some lucky procs, so Alucia continues to work wonders in 4-star towers. I think it's important to pay attention to Triana's cooldowns when using Elucia to know if you should save or sleep, because having Triana just cleanse it away immediately is kind of a waste, and then you'd have to wait for it to get on cooldown, and it can really cost you. So the fact that Elucia just consistently lands her freeze with her skill when and her sleep just makes her so strong in 4-star towers, and that's why I've built 3 of her. It is a bit rough to use her against all the Trianas and Mollys in the current 4-star meta because of their cleanse, Molly in particular because of the glancing as well, but she can still do really well. This is a pretty slow win, but as soon as Carcano died, it was a safe 3v2, so GG's to Gara. Next, I hit Jonathan CIT again, and I'm using the exact same team as the previous match. I keep my second Sin unruned to move the same exact set over, so I figured if it worked once and seemingly against a well-runed version, and it's been working for my guildies, it should continue to work for me. You'll notice Jonathan is running Revenge on Carcano, which is a great offset if you can get the stats. So as soon as my Sin hits him and gets Revenge, I back off and change my targeting, because even though Sin can't get defense broken and has high defense, when Carcano's in his pose, he just hits like a truck. So I was trying to avoid that unnecessary risk. Anyways, I got another one here. Next up, I hit Marcos, Carcano, Valantis, Savannah, and I'm trying out Galleon, Triana, and Poseidon. I used to use Galleon teams all the time back when I was in G1, but I've always found it too risky in G3. Lately, I've seen guildies and a lot of YouTubers actually use it frequently, so I decided to give it a shot. Unfortunately, I missed the defense break on Valantis, and I missed the crit on Savannah, so I just get completely wrecked. People still tell me to use this comp more often, but I'm just scared. Maybe I need to try a Rage Poseidon or make sure he has 100 crit rate, though 96 is pretty damn close. Like I think my runes are pretty good on him, and Triana I keep unruned to move Swift sets around, so I'm spending mana to make this team happen just to get losses. So I don't know. To me, there's so many things that can go wrong that it's just kind of not worth it. Particularly the accuracy and resistance check, but also the critting. But maybe I just need to bring it into the right teams. So whatever, it is what it is. Rip 10 wins. This was my only loss this siege. For my last attack here, I'm hitting Aerials, Carcano, Eshir, Savannah, and I'm using Kamun or Kuni Malite. Last siege, I mentioned that this offense works very well against any Carcano Claire comp, it seems. I guess I should add the caveat that it probably won't work well against Carcano Savannah Beta, and probably not Molly either. But I certainly think it could have worked really well against the Valantis comp in the previous match, and likely would have had more success than Poseidon did. But here it works like a charm. With Eshir, you lose the additional defense break and the stuns that Claire provides, but I do think he's as strong and maybe even stronger than Iris here, because he has a better heal, he does more damage, and he gives everyone more turns with his attack bar increase. I guess Iris has the silence and would be having the stuns. So, you want the 25% stun chance or the 22% violent chance, which on defense, they both seem like 50%, right? Still, if I had Savannah, I think I would just run Clara above anything else with Carcano. Maybe an LD Mermaid, but those seem like they're too strong not to be running in a 4-star tower right now. So anyways, GG's to Ariel. Despite going 9-1 here, Dystopia ate everything in their path and got a comfortable win. If you want to check out another Siege video, you can in the top right corner, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Bye.